Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, and my friends, yes, it is indeed the big day, the Terry Bogard patch for Street Fighter 6. And let me tell you, Terry Bogard, big deal. We're going to cover him a lot on the channel. Don't worry, we already have quite a bit. But the patch itself is actually much more significant than what I thought it would be, both in terms of features and goodies, and there's some pretty real balance changes here. Not necessarily on the level of the Season 2 patch, but there's some stuff, and we're going to cover it in this video. So hey, new avatar items, of course. Of course, this is how Street Fighter 6 is working, right? But also, hey, we got a bunch of new challenger screens. So we already had a bunch of these in the game, right? Now we have new ones added, both from Udon Comics and from a new fan art competition. And some of the ones from the fan art competition are pretty friggin' good. Like, a lot of these are just really well done. Once again, they're completely free. And I feel that they evoke the spirit of the characters in a lot of ways, right? So check them out. Once again, free, can't beat the price. Also added in this patch is the new V-Rival system. We've talked about this in previous videos, but long story short, there is now a bunch of customizable AIs you can go fight at all skill levels of play. So if you're a little too stressed, don't want to go on the rank, you can find a pretty good challenge here in the V-Rival system. Simply head on over to the Battle Hub, it's there, give it a shot. This is day one, not sure how great it's going to be, but bare minimum, I think it's a really good feature to add, and should be just a strong overall quality of life feature for the game. Okay, so now let's talk the patch proper and a lot of the changes. So, this patch is not the Season 2 patch, right? It's not sweeping changes for everybody, but there is enough decent changes for a lot of the cast. Maybe a couple of them are just, it's only a couple of them, but they can be pretty significant, and we're going to go into it, and hopefully if I did this right, everything will be timestamped so we can skip forward to whatever character. But first, let's talk a universal change. This is a nerf, I guess, but it's worth mentioning. So, drive reversal has now been changed, so basically you're closer than you were previously on block, so you're always going to be in throw range. Some characters, now that, it's like just universally -6, right? Some characters, more than others, could get like fairly significant punishes, right? Just as an example, Luke, but now that you're closer, basically everyone at bare minimum can always get throw. And always get the punish counter throw that'll do more damage, right? So there's still going to be people that are better at getting a punish on a drive reverse, but now everyone at minimum will have that as an option and get your 20% on your throw. So that's something. Now let's move on to the character specifics, and we'll start with Luke. So the patch notes are pretty decent. The language and translation on some a little odd a little bit here, but one thing they do is they give some reasoning for some of the changes, right? And for Luke, they basically are like, we might have nerfed him just a little too much. And the changes that he has reflected. Now, these are not by any means the most significant changes in the patch, but if you stuck by Luke even after the nerfs, I think you'll appreciate him. So on hit or on block, both crouch light kick and crouch light punch both push back less. So basically for block strings, you're pretty much always going to be in range, and there's not going to be a situation where basically you're pushed out in a situation where you don't feel like you should have been, right? So it just makes him more standardized, more controllable. It makes him like it used to be, right? So that's fine. And crouch medium punch, specifically the God button, which even after the nerf, still the God button. Now less pushback on hit specifically. So you can still, for the most part, get a light follow-up after the fact, unless you're really far out. So basically, less pushback on everything for like your jabs, crouch medium punch. Good quality of life. Back heavy kick specifically now has way more momentum going forward off a drive rush, which means if you're using it in combos, you don't have to worry about any specific timing or coming up short. You basically slide across the screen at this point, right? So any combo ability with drive rush into back heavy kick, now going to be easier, better. That's fine. And specifically in last one, and this is decent, light, medium, heavy target combo. So one of the changes in the Season 2 patch was if you start a combo with a light, you scale more, right? So your next hit's going to be 80%, whatever it is. So for the target combo, that meant like light into medium, this scaled even more than it did. So they removed the scaling from the second hit. So now it is still subject to scaling from a light, but you're going to be doing more overall damage. On that note as well, the final hit also does more overall damage. The final hit now does 800 damage. It is scaling down, so this is 560 right now, but raw, it would do 800. So basically, off the target combo, you're just doing more damage overall now. So that's nice, right? And of course, it's special cancelable. You can go into whatever you want to go from there. So not big changes. It just kind of steadies Luke out a bit more, makes him a bit more reliable. If you already like the character, there's a lot to like here. But other than that, that's about it. Now for Kimberly, small change. But hey, if you've been sticking around with Kimberly for this long, man, you'll take anything you can get, right? So bombs. Bombs have been changed in that the scaling is now better than it was. So normally, previously, if a bomb connected and you did, whatever your next move was going to be, the scaling would start at 20%. So your next move would be 80% damage scaling, right? Now the scaling is only 10%. So basically anything you do now off a bomb is just going to do more damage. So kind of all upside, really. You just do more damage. And more damage is always more better. That's it. I wish I could give you more. Maybe next patch, the My patch, I don't know. You'd think the My patch would be friendly to ninjas. But we'll see, I guess. But for now, take what you can get, and more damage is pretty nice. Now, JP. So over the course of several patches, not just the Season 2 patch, but over the course of several patches, JP was effectively removed from the game. Was he too strong in his initial incarnation? Yeah, maybe. I think that's fair to say, right? But was he over-nerfed? Yeah, probably as well. So in the patch notes, and once again, the patch notes, you can find the link in the video description, they basically describe it as, whoops, our bad. And JP, maybe he won't have the terrifying highs he had previously, but he's effectively back in the game now. So one of the big ones is Crouch Heavy Punch, which was basically his dedicated anti-air button. He doesn't have a Shoryuken or anything like that, so he needed it. And was it a little dominant as an anti-air? Perhaps. But they nerfed it to the point where it got real bad. Like, he actually struggled against jumpers, when before, he dealt with jumping very easily. So now, it actually had some invincibility frames on it against jumping. It does again. And let me tell you right now, Terry Jump Heavy Punch is pretty alright. So now, they can stuff it with ease. Just like before, just like any other jump. So JP is going back to being strong against jumpers. As long as they're even mildly on the ball, the worst that'll happen is a trade. That would have just lost straight up before. And now, basically, you can do your thing again. So that's really good. Also really good is they gave him more combo ability. They really scaled back on his combo ability over the last few nerfs. And they're giving him some back now. So one of the big ones out of the gate, stand medium kick. So this is now +3 on hit. So this used to be +1 on hit. This means a few things. So for one, off a punish counter or a drive rush, it'll now naturally combo into Crouch Medium Punch. Because that adds 4 frames, right? +7. And this is a 7-frame move. So hey, bingo, bango, bongo, more combo ability. That's nice. We can work with that. And also, because it's just a bit more advantage than it was before, that means level 2 tricks are back on the table. So stand medium kick into level 2. Now, thanks to that little bit of extra frame advantage, you can sneak in a crouch medium kick, his 9-framer, and it will now connect and make everything a natural combo from there. So his level 2 being strong was one of the reasons he got nerfed, right? But once again, maybe a little over nerfed. So we can work with this now, and we got some more combo ability on the table. So say you're fishing around neutral, right? And you're using Crouch Medium Punch because it's a pretty dang good button. And you score like a counter hit or better. That naturally combos into his stand medium kick. And then all of a sudden, that just brings all the level 2 shenanigans on the table again, right? And you get your combo ability from it. And there you go. Starting to feel like the good old days, right? So You know, just one little change here, a couple more frames on stand medium kick, and all of a sudden, some silly combos get possible again. Also for JP, combo ability is kind of back on forward heavy kick. The juggle points have been relaxed, so getting like a lot of classic combos, especially like picking people up after EX Portal, right? You can do it again. So combos like this exist again, right? Because the juggle points are relaxed, so you can use it in more extended juggles off like EX Portal when that ability was taken away for a good while. So combo ability, thus damage also going up for JP. And there's other good quality of life stuff too. That's not just it, right? So EX quarter circle forward punch punch. So it's a 2-hit move, obviously big wall bounce. This is the one thing that did get buffed for JP in Season 2. In rare situations, the first hit could connect and the second hit would whiff. So basically, if the first hit connects at all, the second hit has an expanded hitbox forward, just to make sure the drops never happen. Also, a nice little change. So the command grab. It's not exactly common, but you can combo into it. Say like punish counter, crouch heavy punch. And if you do combo into it now, it does more damage. So now the scaling to it is set at 10%. So first hit 100%, second hit 90%, right? Before it was set at 25%. So now if you actually do manage to combo into this, like say you're just, you know, you're just fishing, right? You're just hitting this and you're buffering command grab in. And if for whatever reason you get that punish counter and it becomes a natural combo, now you're just getting that much more damage in. Like off stand heavy punch, because it's such a good button, off punish counter, your next hit's going to be super scaled anyways. But now, at least it won't be turbo scaled. You're still going to get some damage in. You're not just going to lose all the damage. So it just makes it just that much more valuable, that much more worthwhile to do. So when you can get it, you're just going to do more damage. JP, I don't think he's going to be top tier anytime soon. Because we got Terry here, and Terry's got a good contention for top tier. But he's definitely going to be back on the map again. Now, Dee Jay has some fun changes. One of the big ones here is the target combo light punch, medium kick, medium kick. This before, I would just basically call this like almost like a dead string. Like, it's just not that valuable. And now it kind of is. So there's a lot of little changes. They're all in the patch notes, which are in the video description. But here's the long story short. It just does ever so slightly less damage. But now if you get it, it leaves you perfectly in throw range. And Dee Jay has a very good throw loop, and his ability to, you know, just shimmy and punish people is very strong. So basically, if you get this, and it's very easy to hit confirm, you can just hit light punch, medium kick, and if you see that the hits, then just hit medium kick again. And now, basically, every time this connects, they're in a mix. You can immediately go for throw, and if, you know, they try to tech out, you walk backwards, do whatever button, shimmy, and just get a punish counter, right? So now this effectively forces a mix-up every single time it connects, making it a lot more valuable than it was before. Whereas before, you just wouldn't do it. There really wasn't much of a point. Now it's actually something to kind of aim for. If you get it, great. Go for it. Throw loops, or, you know, whiff punish on the throw. And once again here, very easy to hit confirm. If you only do the first two hits, it's only -3, so it's whatever. And just very easy to hit confirm. Just, if you see the first two hits connect, just hit kick again. So it just makes it more valuable. That's cool. Also making stuff more valuable. So backsway. Backsway, like kick. We all know this one. This move has been deadly, but you know, the other option is not so much, right? Like medium kick, it's an overhead, that's nice, but it doesn't do much in and of itself, right? So now it is going to do something. One, if you get it, it's always been, you know, plus on block, which is nice. Very nice even. But now it does a lot more drive gauge damage on block. It does over half a bar. So the damage on block has been significantly up. So on top of the plus frame you have, they're now even further punished for blocking it. So it just makes the offense off this a lot stronger. That's great. And say, you know, the purpose of doing backsway is to catch them whiffing buttons, right? That's why leg cutter is so good. Because if you catch them, you know, hitting that button, ooh, we get a lot of plus frames. And then we can get combo ability and say do that as a trick now too, right? But now, backswing medium kick, if it hits as a punish counter, it bounces the enemy. That means stuff like this is now possible. Before it was just a splat, right? So now you can get a super, you can get up kicks, you can get all sorts of stuff. You can get some real damage in. So it's better on block, it's better on hit if it's a punish counter, just making it all the more valuable. I think that's really cool and really strong. EX backsway, the medium kick version. If it hits on the foe, you know, launching in the air, right? So it normally launches, and this also causes a bounce. And you can get a level 1 super after the fact. So just more options, more damage. They changed how level 1 works against airborne foes. Less of a tailspin, more just like a splat now. But yeah, so not gigantic changes, but very strong quality of life changes. For backsway, you're going to be backswaying anyways. It's part of the Dee Jay experience. And now the medium kick option is just infinitely more valuable than it was before. EX backsway 2, now it has combo ability. Like, things are looking all right. Like, it's not huge, but it's very nice. Now, Guile. It's kind of the one change, I guess. But I just want to read it as written on the patch notes. It says, Guile's Sonic Boom has a high use rate in neutral. You don't say, right? Yeah, so turns out tossing the booms, you might see it 2 or 3 times when you're fighting against Guile, right? So here's the change. It's straight up a nerf. So light and heavy booms, specifically, you now gain less meter while doing it. So normally you would gain 600 units a meter on when it connects, right? Now you gain 300 units a meter. So basically, you gain half as much meter for tossing booms. The boom is still as good as it ever was, but you just gain less meter for doing it. The medium version, aka the forgotten version, I decided to nerf it a little bit less. So it still gains less meter. Instead of 600 units a bar, it gains 450 units a bar. So you're just gaining less meter for spamming booms. You still get meter. Like, that's not change. You are still going to get that meter, but just not as much meter as you did before. Also, drive gauge. When, you know, any move connects, you gain drive meter, right? You will now gain less drive gauge when a boom connects. It used to be 1,000 units of drive gauge. Now it'll be 500. So basically, you gain less resource for spamming boom. Spamming boom is still what you're going to do, because it's what the character is. But you'll just be rewarded a little bit less for it. So it's definitely a strict nerf, but it's not that big of a deal in the end. Now, Zangief. Ever since those big changes in Season 2, safe to say he's been like the most complained about character in the game. Now, of course, is he winning tournaments? Is he even top 5? No, not really. Not really. But people will always complain about a grappler if a grappler's even half decent. Abigail in Street Fighter V. Look at that. Same deal, right? Everyone's saying he's killing the game, yet Rashid was winning every tournament. Funny how that worked, right? Anyways, so let's start with the one buff before we get to the nerfs. So headbutt. Headbutt changes are part of the reason why Zangief's so much better, right? So headbutt is now +8 on hit. Used to be +7. So before the big change was, it went into Hell Stab. But now, it also goes into Crouch Medium Punch. Now, realistically, the biggest thing is it makes it easier for you to go into, say, level 2. So as you're not starting on the diagonal, right? I know some people have some difficulty with that, right? Because Hell Stab is 800 damage. Crouch Medium Punch is even less damage. So Hell Stab, unless I'm missing something, is usually going to be the better option to go for. Regardless, though, it is more advantage on hit. That is nice. That is nice. And it does mean on punish counter, it would go into sweep. So that is a new option. That is something. But here comes the nerfs. So it's a little bit more advantage on hit. That's nice. But now it's going to scale way, way harder. So if we do headbutt into Hell Stab. Look at Hell Stab now. The follow-up damage is 75%. So headbutt now has initial scaling of 25%. That's kind of big. That means you're going to be doing less damage across the board. And if done in combos, headbutt also has more scaling. Now does 20% instead of 10%. So say you get punish counter, drive rush, headbutt, headbutt, which is a natural combo, right? So 75% there, and say we get Hell Stab after the fact. Now health stab is at 55% damage for scaling. So the combos you had before, they will still exist, but generally the whole headbutt structure for Zangief, you're just going to be doing much less damage across the board. His damage is getting cut down in a pretty significant way. You're going to be just doing less damage. Also nerfed is knee. So one of the changes to 2 with knee. If you didn't even literally point blank, it was -3, which was safe. Now, if you do not space knee, it is punishable at -4. So someone can do jab into special or whatever. So you can make it safe still. And naturally enough, if you space it correctly, it can still be plus on block, right? So if you're good about spacing it, not much has changed. But just doing it willy-nilly in people's faces, there is some consequence to this now. Also, the move itself, the hurt box has been pretty significantly expanded forwards. So if you're like just doing, block strings in the knee, if someone tosses out a button, it's actually a lot easier to stuff Zangief while he's doing the knee. Now the hitbox change, or rather the hurt box change, is not on the part where he crushes lows, like he goes over lows, that's unchanged, but just the part where his body's there flying at you. Basically, if you stick out a button, it's going to be easier to stuff him out of the move. So the move got more abusable. Now it's kind of been brought down to reality. Yeah, you gotta be smart with it, right? So with that, and you're just going to be doing less damage across the board in your bigger combos, definitely a nerf for Zangief. He still retains pretty much all the quality of life he got in Season 2. So don't get me wrong, he's still way better than he was in Season 1 overall. Because Season 1, like, his damage, like, you're just doing, like, jabs in the drive rush. And just going, like, his damage was god-awful, right? So it's not going to be as strong as it was just even, yesterday before the patch. But it's certainly better than what he had to work with in Season 1. But still, despite what crazy people will tell you on tier list saying he's the best character in the game when he absolutely wasn't, Zangief got some pretty real nerfs. So going from some pretty real nerfs to some pretty real buffs, Dhalsim kind of just snuck out of nowhere and got some game changers. And we'll start with the big one. We're going to cover everything, obviously enough. But the big one is his level 1 super. So, it's nice. It's got multiple versions, depending on the button you press, different angles, all that kind of stuff, right? So have a looky here at Terry. So, normally you do like a super gets blocked, you do drive gauge damage, unless they're in burnout. Whatever. But we're going back to the days of Street Fighter V here. So now look at Terry's health. Oh, gray recoverable health. Just like his V-Trigger in Street Fighter V. That's how we're doing this again. And just like Street Fighter V, if at any point here when you have that recoverable health and Dhalsim taps you, boom, all gone. He lost it all. So it's maybe not as much as it was in Street Fighter V, but it's very much a thing. Also, they changed the frame data on the move, right? So the light and medium versions now are much safer on block. They're both -10. And you don't want to do it point blank necessarily, right? But -10 with the pushback means it's safe. Like, it's safe. Just straight up. So now it gives you another game plan. Like, say you just got bar to burn. You can pressure the enemy. Like, okay, I got bar to burn. Let's go. This is going to be safe. Now you got a little bit extra health. And if I even tap you once, you're got, right? You're going to lose that health. So that's very, very fun and interesting. And yes, in burnout, it'll still do the chip damage and it'll also do the gray health. Not as much gray health, but it is there. So it is even stronger against someone in burnout. Chip and that, good combination. So that's cool. What else have we got to work with, right? Well, how about this? Charge Fireball is less negative on block. Used to be, say, point blank, -3. Now -1. So basically in any situation where you hit with Charge Fireball, you're just better off, right? And -1 is basically a suggestion, especially with that pushback, right? So if you do it point blank for whatever reason, it's like no big deal, basically. Also, EX Fireball, the hurt box before and after is better, meaning he's less likely to get stuffed out of it or punished after the fact. And hey, Stand Medium Punch. So Stand Medium Punch is now 0 on hit. Used to be -2 on hit. So it wasn't punishable or nothing, but basically it being even on hit now means you can just freely hit buttons more, right? Like, you're less likely just to automatically lose out if you hit buttons and they hit something. And then since they're already negative when you're pressing your, you know, longer startup buttons, you get stuffed out of it. So basically, it just makes this a better poke. And you are more advantaged to hit buttons after the fact if you did successfully connect. That's nice. Now, here's another fun one. Stand heavy kick is now plus 24 on punish counter. Used to be plus 21. So on a base level, this move is special cancelable, right? So on a base level, say you do it and you go into heavy flame, right? Or heavy fireball rather, because flame's a different move. That means you can have it naturally combo from just a little bit further away, just because you have that much more advantage. At max range, it's still not going to combo, right? But it'll combo from just a little further away. So that's cool. But here's the big advantage. If you get drive rush, punish counter stand heavy kick, that is plus 28. So keep in mind, right? The move is special cancelable. So if you see this now, and you have 3 more frames of advantage and you cancel on the teleport, you can be plus 3 in front of their face. Before, you'd just be even. You'd be plus 0. Now, you're plus 3. So bare minimum, it becomes like a guess throw, guess strike mix-up. But on the drive rush version, since it's now plus 28, and you cancel on the teleport, you're now plus 7. And you know what 7 frames, right? Back medium kick. So now all of a sudden, this is all a natural combo. That's a nice little chunk of change. It's almost 4,000 with just a level 1, right? That's not bad. So where is this applicable? Well, Dhalsim's pretty good at the whole fireball game thing, right? So if you catch situations where, you know, you're doing like say light fireball and you catch a clash, you can react to that. Boom, punish counter. So if you're in a situation here where like you catch a clash with a fireball, right? So say you're in a situation where you catch a fireball clashing, right? Like anyone short of Guile, I guess, because Guile's a dirty cheater. Most people got some decent amount of recovery there. But with this and the range it has, I can catch you. Like trying to clash with the fireball, right? So that's an option, of course, you know, and also if anyone whiffs something big from full screen, this got the range to connect from full screen. Don't worry about that. The options will be there, right? And now that you can get such crazy damage, like it's gonna be fun. Like, just seems pretty cool to me. I don't know. Hitting someone from like literally full screen, then teleporting into them and comboing out. Gives Dhalsim some sass. Gives him some really fun stuff. I like that a lot. There's other stuff too, like EX Flame. Apparently the hitbox is a little bit better. So maybe certain situations where it might be drops. Hey, no more drops. But yeah, Dhalsim, like he didn't get a lot in season 2, right? He was already, like he's in a good spot, right? He's a character that you give him too much, he'll run the game. Like we've been there more than a few times over the decades. Dhalsim, you give him just a little bit, he'll take a mile, right? So these changes, like they're not gonna like revolutionize the game or nothing, but they are fun. And fun changes, well, fun. It's fun to have fun, turns out. Crazy thought, right? So I like these changes. Okay, Rashid. Surely if Zangief got these big changes, right, Rashid also has to be getting some big changes. No. Now, Aki, this is technically a bug fix. I didn't really cover a lot of the bugs because whatever, right? But this one does have a gameplay ramification. So obviously, when you get a punish counter, you get advantage frames, right? She did not get advantage frames if she got a punish counter that did her detonation, like her combo detonation. So in a situation now where she gets EX Serpent Lash and it's a punish counter, the advantage frames mean if you do like a follow-up, they will stay grounded. Normally without it, like same deal here, I just go for stand heavy kick, they would flip out, right? But if I do happen to get it just as a punish counter in and of itself with the advantage frames, that means they're still grounded. So it's a bug fix, but technically now if you can do a hard call out and you know you're going to get a punish counter, it makes stuff EX Serpent Lash just a little bit better. So that's nice, I guess. So Ed was barely changed for the Season 2 patch. and they acknowledge as such. So he did get a little, just small quality of life stuff. So say here, just on block, stand heavy kick is now +4 on block. Used to be +3, so more advantage. Now keep in mind, it'll still whiff against crouchers, so it's maybe not always the best option to go for. But if you know you can get them to block it, you're just more advantage. That's always nice. Jump heavy punch has more active frames, so just better as a jump in. That's cool. Jump heavy kick is nice, actually, specifically because it now floats the enemy for a better period than before, and you don't need like a counter hit or anything. You just raw call them out. It's just easy to get follow-ups. So that's nice. That works out. You just get a better reward for it, right? So, hey, that's cool. Why not? Good. Also, a quality of life change is a single frame, but you take what you can get. So, Flicker. If it punish counters, it does, you know, the knockback effect, right? And the idea is, after the fact, you drive rush. And you get whatever combo after the fact, right? It can be a little difficult sometimes, though. You actually don't got much time to mess around. So basically, they added a single frame extra to the punish counter. So you got one more frame to drive rush and do whatever combo you're going to do. So that's nice, I guess. So some decent little quality of life buffs. There is a nerf, though, but it's very fair nerf. And that has to do with the level 2. So level 2 technology has greatly expanded since Ed first launched, right? You do whatever combo, you do, you know, your level 2, and you get some sassy stuff going on, right? And the thing is, while the level 2 is live, you can still gain meter. Right there, I did a heavy flicker, I gained a little bit of meter. And it's certainly not the only level 2 in the game where you can do that, right? But like other level 2s, we're nerfing the meter gain, you know, like Rashid, like Chun-Li. So he gains about 20% less meter now while the level 2 is live. So none of your combos are changed, none of your pressure is changed, but you already just burned the meter, so you're not just going to get it all back right away. So it's a small nerf in the end. The buffs definitely outweigh the one little nerf. So Ed, it's mostly quality of life. It's not gigantic, but it is nice. Now Bison. This one's a little confusing because it's a nerf and a buff and the same thing. But Scissors! Scissors! Hey, Scissors. Am I right, folks? Right? So Scissors now pushes back less. And when it says pushes back less, it's not a lot less, okay? If you can still mildly space this at all, you are as safe can be. But it does push back ever so slightly less, meaning if you poorly space it, you're like a stand light kick away, well, for some characters anyways, from getting punished because it is -5 on block. Now, the flip, as the patch notes are written, is saying the hurt box for Bison is now less after the move is done. So he's closer, but he's harder to hit. That's how it's written. The way it's written is very confusing. To go along with this, the hurt box during his recover is now smaller. So while guaranteed punishes will still hit, attacks with long reach can now hit Bison more effectively, making it easier to take back your turn. If he has a smaller hurt box, it makes it harder for you to take back your turn, not easier. So this might be a poor translation, like it says during his recover, not recovery. So I don't know. So we'll see. The pushback change is, I would say, almost negligible, to be honest with you. We'll see how this goes. It's definitely got to be a net nerf. They'd be crazy to do it otherwise. But the language is a bit suspect, and that is the only change for Bison. That's not just bug fixes. So that is the patch. Of course, naturally, our boy Terry Bogard is the superstar of this patch. And I expect a lot of coverage on the channel about Terry over the next few days. But it is pretty nice. Now, like the top tiers, like, yo, is Rashid still really good? You betcha. Is Akuma still really... Akuma wasn't even changed. Yeah, you know, Akuma can't... Like, the usual suspects will remain the usual suspects. Zangief Nerf hurts. But he's still overall in a better place in Season 2 than he was in Season 1, right? Certain people you might see more of. You might see a little bit more of Dhalsim. You might see a little bit more of Dee Jay. You might see a little bit more of Luke. I think you're probably going to see more JP for sure, right? So people are going to be rising up. Other people who definitely need help, like Manon and Honda. These characters are in the dregs. They are despicable right now. How some characters got buffs and these two characters did not is frankly beyond me. Whenever the My patch is, they better get the world. Because, like, if you're buffing JP and you're not buffing Honda or Manon, like, what are you? Hey, I don't even, like, I'm not editing this out. These are my raw thoughts. What is this? What even is this, right? But fighting games, y'all. Fighting games. I love fighting games. We like to have fun, don't we? But yeah, so an interesting patch. But definitely more to be found in the future, you know? Like, the top tiers will remain the top tiers. You might see a few more people popping up around the edges. But the people left at the bottom, well, they're going to remain at the bottom for now. I guess we'll see how that goes. So, till then, enjoy the patch. Enjoy Terry. Terry, once again, is a superstar here. He's going to be pretty cool. And that is the video. Longer video, patch video. If you can leave a like, sincerely helps the video. Very appreciated. And other than that, well, that is the end of the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. And go out and play some Street Fighter.